Oh, well, hey, did I dress up specifically for today's podcast episode? Not intentionally, but you're welcome. Make it happen. The Make It Happen sweatshirt is on. And you know why? Because we're talking about goals. How fun is that? Let's have a good old fashioned goal chat, shall we? I have some questions for you. Do you have clear, specific goals? Or even one clear, specific goal that you're focused on right now? If you do have goals or a specific goal, is it written down? Have you actually put pen to paper or thumb to keyboard and put it in writing? Do you talk about your goals with anyone? Do you do progress reports and planning checks about your goal pursuit? Your answers to these questions, funnily enough, can say a lot about how your year is going to go. There are studies and surveys that show that most people actually don't have goals. And I know that that can sound a little wacky to people like us, but if we challenge ourselves, do you have a clear, specific goal articulated that you are focused on as opposed to a vague idea that, yeah, I would like this to get better or that to get smaller or whatever? I'm thinking of like a pile of stuff. You need to fit. I need to make the pile smaller. Do you have a clear, specific goal? And is it written down? Most people don't write them down. And most people definitely aren't doing progress reports with people checking in on how are your goals going. So I want to come to you today with a little bit of a plea, a little bit of a request on behalf of you to consider setting a specific, clear goal and writing it down. And for bonus points, finding someone or some people to talk with regularly about them. At the end of the episode, I'm going to just share the details of a fun research study that was done so that you can know we're not just saying arbitrarily you should do this stuff because it will be more work. There's science behind the reasoning here. But before we get into that, I want to give you my take on goal setting, why set them, how to think about them, and we might need to shift your mindset around them a little bit. I'm not going to tell you anything that you can easily Google. We're going to set you up to actually make the most of the idea of a goal. We're going to make this worthwhile in your very human, very busy life. And I'm going to compel you to set a goal and to think about it in this very specific way. I'm going to sell you on this idea that you can be a person and you want to be a person with a clear, articulated goal. So, why set a goal? Why have one? Who cares? Because you want to steer your ship. We do not want to maintain the status quo. We do not want to end up with whatever life we end up with. But I know you're busy and I know you're tired. And there can be a sense of kind of heavy mental lifting when it comes to really thinking about what do I want? And there can be a lot of resistance around articulating and getting specific. But I'm going to tell you some other fun facts or sprinkle fun facts throughout this episode. There's another fun fact that people who set specific and challenging goals are more likely to achieve them than people who set easy goals. Fascinating. So, if we're selling you on this idea today, then the argument is I don't just want you to set a goal for yourself. I want you to set a little bit of a challenging one and make it specific. Because if you're going to bother to set a goal, let's give you the best chances of achieving it. And if you have a better chance of achieving a specific and challenging goal, then I vote, let's set that kind. Are you on board? But Kirsten, challenges are scary. And what if I fail? All right. So when I first start working with a client, the very first thing that we do, no matter the reason they have hired me, the specific things that they want to work on with me, the very first thing we always do is articulate their vision, goals, and values. You may have heard me talk about this before. The vision, goals, and values create your decision anchor. And if you want help articulating yours, you can go to kirstenparker.com/clarity, get the clarity workshop. It's a whole deep dive. It's essentially the first session that I do, a kickoff coaching session with private clients. There's a reason we start here. There's a reason we start with articulating goals, regardless of if someone has specifically hired me to help them achieve a goal. Because a lot of the time, people are signing up to work with me because they want to change their way of thinking, change their baseline stress, change their mindset around themselves, figure out some answers to some questions, change some habits around people pleasing and over promising and overcommitting themselves. Not a lot of that sounds like your traditional, clear, specific, challenging goal, right? On paper, we're used to goals sounding like make this much money, climb this mountain. So, off the bat, there's a lot of value in sitting down and meeting yourself where you are and asking this question, what do I want? And if what you want is to lower your baseline stress so that you can enjoy more of your everyday so you don't feel like you're on edge or depleted most of the time. That is a specific and challenging goal. You don't have to make it fancier or more complicated or better sounding than that. I say go for it. I say own it and I say write it down. A lot of the resistance that people can encounter when trying to do this exercise are all of the, well, what if it's challenging? What if I fail? Questions. I don't know if it's realistic to want to make $300,000. I don't know when I will finish writing the book. I don't know if I will get any job I apply for. All of that resistance boils down to these questions. What if I'm wrong? What if I can't? What if I fail? So, what if I told you the reason we're going to set these goals, the reason we're going to bother to think about them and get specific about them and write them down and say them out loud is not just to achieve them? What if their purpose were more than to just serve as a destination for you to input into your GPS? I'm going to give you a personal example and I'm going to use one about money because it's easy for all of us to understand. I know not all of us are having money goals and we're not all business owners, but they're nice, clean, round numbers. So let's use this for the purposes of example. Okay. The first time I attempted to achieve the goal of making $100,000 in a year in my business, I failed. Here's why that doesn't matter, because the measure of my achievement did not reside exclusively in that end result number. What I achieved in failing at that goal was actually priceless and was actually the key to me ultimately getting the end result I wanted and achieving the goal. What I achieved in failing at that goal was learning how to make as much money as I did. I don't remember the actual number because it wasn't like a calendar year, it wasn't a fiscal year, but let's just say for the purposes of our example that it was 60,000. Let's say the first time from start to finish in a year that I attempted to make $100,000, let's say I made $60,000. What I learned in failing to make $100,000 was how to make $60,000 in the year. That's valuable freaking information, don't you think? I learned what worked. I learned what didn't work. I learned how to do things in a certain amount of time that I could then learn how to do a little differently, a little faster. If I learned how to make $10,000 in 2 months, that meant I could keep going. And now I'd already know how to do that. I already learned how to do that. And from there, I could just learn how to make $10,000 in 6 weeks, in 1 month. And the whole time I was failing at achieving that goal, I was thinking of myself as someone who makes $100,000. I had that goal in mind. And in order to believe it was possible to achieve it, I had to believe I was a person capable of achieving it. If I had sat there at the beginning of that year and thought, well, I've never made $100,000 in a year before. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know if it's realistic. I don't want to fail. I could have easily set a safer goal. Let's say $50,000. $50,000 feels like, well, maybe that's more realistic. Maybe I could see how that could happen. Maybe I won't fail as badly at that. I could have easily set the goal I was shooting for as below what I was actually capable of. I could have constrained all of my efforts that I was going to apply to the year of attempting 100,000 and tried to squeeze them into a box of shooting for 50,000. made my thinking smaller, made my actions smaller, made my efforts smaller. And the wild thing is, I could have still fallen short. The worst part about doing that would have been I would have barely grown my self concept. Instead of spending a year growing my belief that I could be a person capable of making $100,000 in a year, I would have been working to build a smaller self concept. And guess what that means? For the next time I attempt $100,000, I have that much farther to go. I've made it that much harder on myself. So the truth and the beauty of this is that it applies to all goals. Doesn't just have to be monetary, doesn't just have to be for business owners, doesn't just have to be for external tangible things. It can be those internal type goals that we talked about with lowering your stress baseline or increasing your presence or increasing your confidence and self trust. Yes, you absolutely get to care about achieving the end result 100%. We are not taking that away from you, my friend. I love being an achievement machine just as much as the next guy. But you make your goal valuable no matter what the end result is, no matter what the timing is. If you use it to become the person you want to be. Set the goal to publish the book by December. If you hit the goal, great. If you don't hit the goal, great. You're probably still going to publish it much faster than if you'd never set a goal in the first place. Either way, use that goal to build your self concept as a published author. Set the goal to figure out your next career move by summer. If you hit that goal, great, fantastic. If you don't hit the goal, if you still have questions by June, July, so what? As long as you've used your time intentionally and you've gotten more information about what you want and where you're going, either way, use that goal to become the person who is self directed and brave and engaged in your life enough to craft an intentional career path. Because the thing is, you're not going to give up, right? We're not going to get to December and think, oh, I only hit 80,000, not 100. Oh, I'm only in literary agent talks. My book's not published yet. Or, oh, I haven't completely done my career pivot yet. I'm only enrolled in a certification program for something I'm interested in. So I guess I'm going to go home now. Goal failed. Mwah, mwah. This is why I love the income stretch goal example, because I hit 100,000. It took me longer than I guessed, than I originally, I don't know, wanted, planned, thought, hoped. But that doesn't matter because I wasn't going to give up. I needed to set the goal as a way to activate and guide me. That's it. I needed to decide, okay, I'm going to go for 100,000 from a year from now. I had no business making that date up. I had no clear cut guaranteed plan. Who cares? I needed that goalpost to activate me, to give me a trajectory and to guide the actions I took so that I reached for 100, didn't keep myself small and reach for whatever, right? The vague, numberless, unspecific, yeah, I want to make any money. I want to make more money. And I didn't reach for a cap that was arbitrarily low and limiting. One way to think about this is imagining the difference between cooking and baking. Everything that we're talking about with our goals today is more cooking, less baking. Baking kind of makes the journey a little obsolete, right? The idea of baking well is following a recipe that's crafted in advance to a T very precisely, and then waiting for the end result to be the exact perfect way you want it to be. And if you don't get it right, then it's kind of just a failure. You have to go out for your stones that day. Cooking is about the process and the result. You get to taste as you go. You get to find out, oh, I don't like this flavor as much as I thought I would. Or you get to find out, you know what? Now that it's been 40 minutes, I'm in the mood for a little spice and I'm going to add that in, even though that wasn't in the plan. You get more information as you go, externally and internally, just like in life. And you get to adjust and respond in real time. We still want a delicious end result. We're not arguing with that. But the measure of your achievement does not lie exclusively in that end result, kind of like baking. If you end up with an inedible mess, but you learned a lot in the process, you became better at your knife skills, you found out what acid does, you've become more of the chef you want to be. You've become more of the person you want to be in this goal pursuit, even if the end result isn't what you thought it would be or what you wanted. And let me remind you, we're guessing at a lot of our goals. I had a client once who set a goal around narrating audiobooks. She's a voice actor. And it was a clear goal. It was a challenge. She worked to achieve it. She took action. She used that goal to motivate and guide her, activate her. And guess what? She got it. She was doing an audiobook. Goal achieved. And guess what? She didn't like it. Doesn't mean that the goal was wrong. Doesn't mean that she failed at anything. Doesn't mean she shouldn't have set that goal and pursued it. It means that we can look to our lives for the evidence that the measure of our success and achievement is not exclusively in the end results because we change our minds all the time. We're getting new information all the time. So I hope this has convinced you to get a little bold, get a little brave, set a specific and challenging goal for the sake of activating yourself, for the sake of guiding your actions and your energy and focus, and for the sake of falling short and still having an amazing result to show for yourself and becoming more of the person that you want to become. All right, I promise you some study results. So we're going to end with this study that Dr. Gil Matthews from the Dominican University ran about goal setting. And I just want to share this with you because I think you'll like it, because I feel like we know each other and you're into this kind of thing. And I also just want to reinforce that we're not creating busy work for you. We're not saying you need to write down your goals and go talk with people about them for the sake of giving you more work to do or because, it would be fun and powerful in air quotes. It could be fun. It is going to be powerful, but let's find out why. So Dr. Matthews was actually quoted in reference to this study that my study provides empirical evidence for the effectiveness of three coaching tools. Interesting. Accountability, commitment, and writing down one's goals. So there were 5 groups of people that they put people into. Group 1 was just asked to think about their goals, what they wanted to achieve over this 4-week period. Group 2 was asked to write down their goals. Group 3 was asked to write down their goals and make commitments to actions. Group 4 was asked to write down their goals, make commitments to actions, and send all of that to a supportive friend. And group 5 was asked to write down their goals, commit to actions, send all of that to a supportive friend, and check in with them with weekly progress reports. Guess who did the best? Group 5. Group 5 achieved significantly more than any other group. That was the group who not only thought about their goals, but wrote them down, made them specific and articulated them, committed to specific actions, communicated those intentions and commitments to a supportive friend, and checked in regularly about their progress on that goal. So now feels like the perfect time to tell you we have an opportunity to do this together because I am listening to myself saying all of these things. And I want to make this as accessible and fun as possible for you. Yes, you can absolutely do this by yourself. And coaching is not for everyone. Not all coaching is for everyone. But if you want help, if this sounds like, oh, wait, it's time for me to write some stuff down and commit to actions and say it out loud and check in weekly on it, then I want you to check out the Decision Lab and Accountability April. These are 2 things that I've created for our upcoming months to help you commit to specific things that matter to you and get them done. Have accountability in implementing them. So the details are all in the show notes, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it because I am freaking jazzed. These are like things that I would want to join. So the Decision Lab is in March 2024, where we're going to get decisions made. We're going to work through questions, indecision, confusion, fears, doubts. We're going to give you high quality questions to answer, and we're going to direct your thinking so that you can arrive at a clear and confident decision about whatever is on your mind. This is for you if you need to set some goals, if you need to get really specific. This is also for you if you already know what you want, but you need to make a plan. If you need to get your time organized and make some decisions about what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, how you're going to prioritize, that's decision making, my friend. Come to the decision lab. Let's get the decisions made. Let's set you up for success. Write this stuff down, articulate it, make it clear, make it meaningful so that you don't just feel like the next few months are status quo, hamster wheel, but they're really intentional. We get to make the most of them. And then we're going to go straight from the decision lab into accountability April. 30 days, start to finish of April, you and me. We're going to do a setup for the month. We're going to do weekly progress reports. We're going to do weekly celebrations. We're going to do weekly coaching. We're going to do drop-in co-working sessions. We're going to capitalize on everything these studies show helps you get things done, achieve what you want in the way you want to, and become the person you want to be. Yes, please. You can come to just the Decision Lab. You can come to just Accountability April. It's up to you what you need. I'm here for you. Let's do this. Let's make this the best spring, the best months of 2024. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to feel some momentum, to feel some community, to feel like we're not alone in this. And then we're actually using our time well, and we're happy with what we're doing with it. And we're accountable to ourselves. I'm jazzed. So I can't wait to see you there. Check the show notes. It's all on my website. Also, if you want to go to kirstenparker.com, click services. It'll be right there at the top. If you want to go straight to the sites, it's kirstenparker.com/decision lab or kirstenparker.com/accountability. Can't wait to see you there. And I'll talk to you soon. Hey, want to find out your decision style? Obviously, go take the decision style quiz. It's in the show notes and at kirstenparker.com/quiz. We all have our style when it comes to making decisions, but do you know how to use your default way of thinking to your advantage? Or do you mainly get stuck in the most annoying parts of overthinking and people pleasing? The decision style quiz has your answers, my friend. Take it right now at kirstenparker.com/quiz.